Do you know? Your most dangerous enemy is not standing in front of you. They're inside you. It's not the battlefield filled with gunfire. It's the office you walk into every day. It's not the clash of swords. It's the words soft as the wind, yet sharp enough to cut deep. Maybe it's a colleague who smiles but hides calculated moves behind that smile. A boss who makes you feel you'll never be good enough. Or a ruthless rival who will do anything to humiliate you in front of others. The scary thing is, they don't even have to do much. One comment, one small action, and suddenly you lose your temper. You lose your sleep. You lose yourself. What's our usual reaction? Anger, arguments, counterattacks, or quietly plotting revenge. But does that truly make you win? Or does it cost you even more? More energy, more peace, more of your reputation, and sometimes even the values you hold dear. Over 2,000 years ago, Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius Seneca and Epictetus understood this. They knew real victory doesn't come from force, it comes from wisdom and the ability to master yourself. Because the real enemy isn't the person in front of you. It's the impulse, the fear, the wounded ego inside you. If you can't control yourself, even if you beat them today, you're still losing the long game. Think back, the last time you argued with someone. Maybe you won the argument, silenced them. But afterward, did you feel at peace, or did you still feel heavy inside? And on the flip side, have you ever chosen silence? Chosen to walk away and felt a strange lightness you didn't expect? That's the proof. Not every victory comes from defeating an opponent. Sometimes, the greatest win is walking away without letting them touch your mind. Stoicism isn't just quotes to hang on a wall. It's a set of practical principles, time-tested tools that help you see through others without getting dragged into their game. Keep your dignity in any situation, save your energy for what truly matters, and walk away with peace no one can take from you. Right now, you're about to discover 13 strategies, secrets that have helped warriors, leaders, and everyday people become untouchable in the face of conflict. If you've ever felt drained from fighting battles with people who aren't worth it, if you want to protect yourself without losing your calm, then stay with me. Because you're about to learn how to win without fighting. When you master yourself, every enemy becomes invisible. Do you know? The most dangerous enemy is not the one who shouts in your face. It's the one who smiles while shaking your hand, all the while calculating how to take you down, and you'll never defeat them if you only look at what they want you to see. Most of us react the moment we're attacked. They make a jab, we fire back. They apply pressure, we push harder. But that's the trap. Because when you react emotionally, you're playing by their rules. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you're angry because someone has done wrong, remember you too have made mistakes." This isn't about excusing their behavior. It's about pausing, observing. Imagine standing before a raging river. The water is muddy, foaming, rushing hard. Your instinct is to jump in and fight it. But the wise, they wait. They watch where the current flows and choose the safest place to step in. People are the same. What you see on the surface are just the waves. The real cause lies deep below. Maybe they're afraid of losing power. Maybe they're insecure about not being enough. Or maybe they've been hurt before and now use control as their shield. Ask yourself, Why is this person attacking me? What are they trying to protect? What do they really want? Power, recognition, or safety? When you ask that, you step out of your own emotions and you see the full picture. I once worked with a boss who always pointed out mistakes in front of the whole team. At first I thought he hated me, but over time I realized he was trying to prove his worth to upper management. His harshness wasn't personal. Once I understood that, I stopped feeling offended. I changed how I communicated, making him feel more secure. And slowly, the tension between us faded. When you understand someone's motives, you stop getting pulled into emotional reactions, start predicting their next moves, and most importantly, you take back control. You're no longer on defense. You set the rules. This takes patience, discipline, and faith that seeing deeper is always worth it. When you see through someone, you don't just see the enemy. You see the path to victory without throwing a single punch. I don't let others dictate my reactions. I observe. I understand. I own myself. If you want to learn the 12 other strategies to make your peace unshakable, hit subscribe and stay until the very end. Because when you master yourself, every enemy becomes invisible. Do you realize sometimes your enemy doesn't need to defeat you with force? They just need to drag you into pointless battles and let you burn through your own energy until you're exhausted. The question is, are you fighting to prove you're right or to protect what truly matters? In life, there will be moments when you hear insulting words, you meet people who deliberately provoke you, you see the looks in their eyes that say they're above you. Our instinct is to react immediately, to argue, to defend ourselves, to prove we're not wrong. But according to Stoic philosophy, that's the trap. Because when you react out of emotion, you hand over control of your direction and your mind to someone else. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You always have the power to have no opinion," meaning you're not obligated to step into every fight. You have the right to choose silence. Picture this. You're driving on a long road. Someone cuts you off, honks loudly, maybe even yells at you. You have two choices: chase them down to give back what they just did, or keep driving toward your destination, letting them fade in the rearview mirror. The first choice might feel satisfying for a moment, but it could also put you in danger, make you late, or throw you off course. The second choice keeps you safe, saves your energy, and most importantly, keeps you focused on where you're going. Next time someone tries to pull you into an argument, ask yourself, will this still matter a year from now? Is this about my core values, or just my ego wanting to win? You might be surprised to realize most battles have nothing to do with your values or your future. I once knew a very smart colleague, but his career stayed stuck because he couldn't let go of small, petty attacks. He reacted to every comment, joined every debate, always wanted to be the one who was right. The result? Burnout, lost time, and missed opportunities to make a real impact. Strong people aren't the ones who win the most fights. They're the ones who know which fights aren't worth having, because they understand. You save your strength for the battles that shape your future. You protect your values. You keep your dignity intact. When you learn to choose your battles wisely, you will keep your inner peace. Focus your energy on what truly matters. Stop letting others control your emotions or your time. You don't need to prove to the world that you're always right. You just need to prove to yourself that you know what's worth your energy. Yes, there will be times you must stand and fight for your honor and your future. And when you do fight with reason, with strategy, not with impulsive emotion, but most of the time, the real victory is knowing when to walk away. Don't waste your sword on shadows. Save it for the battle that will change your life. If you're ready to let go of fights that aren't worth it, comment below, "I choose peace." And remember, when you master your choices, no one can drag you into a fight you don't allow. Do you know? In a confrontation, the loudest voice is rarely the strongest one. The person who truly holds control is the one who can speak less, speak slower, and say exactly what needs to be said. When we're provoked, most of us react on instinct. We raise our volume, we speed up our words, and we let emotions drive what comes out of our mouths. We think speaking louder makes us stronger. But the truth is the opposite. The more you let emotion take over, the more you lose control of the conversation. And in that moment, you've just handed the advantage to the other person. Seneca once said, "Silence is a lesson learned through much suffering." Sometimes strength isn't in the number of words you speak, but in the pause you create before you speak them. Picture this. You're in an important meeting. A colleague suddenly attacks you in front of everyone. The whole room turns waiting to see how you'll respond. You have two choices. 1. Respond instantly. Sharp tone. Defend yourself at all costs. 2. Pause. Take a deep breath. Look them straight in the eye and slowly say, "I hear your point." Let me clarify a few things. The first choice might give you a quick rush of satisfaction, but it can easily turn the meeting into chaos. The second choice makes you the one setting the tone, and that is real power. I learned this from a seasoned negotiator. He never rushed to reply. No matter how tense or loud the other person became, he kept his breathing steady, his voice low and clear. He told me, "When they lose their composure, show them the complete opposite in you. That's how you force them to adjust to your pace." And it's true, people who expect you to react impulsively are thrown off when you don't fall into their emotional trap. When you control your voice and your response time, you will make people listen to you. Avoid saying something you'll regret. Stay in control even in the most high-pressure moments. Remember, a short, clear statement can carry more weight than an emotional speech that goes on for minutes. Winning in communication isn't about overpowering the other person. It's about leading them to clarity. Make calm your habit. Make precision your rule. And you'll see when you master your voice, you don't just control the conversation, you control its outcome. If you learned something today, try it in your very next conversation. And remind yourself, calm is strength. Precision is power. Here's your full translation into natural, fluent English that keeps the conversational tone, rhythm, and emotional flow without making it sound overly literary, so it reads smoothly for a YouTube narration. Have you ever realized? Sometimes an enemy isn't really an enemy at all. Maybe we're just standing on opposite sides of the same mountain. It looks like we're moving in opposite directions, but we're both headed toward the same peak. Most conflicts don't start from true hatred. They start from differences in perspective, From a distance, the person on the other side may seem to be going against you, but when you climb high enough, you see you're both moving toward the same place. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Where there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Kindness is not weakness. Kindness is the recognition that even the one standing against you is protecting something they value just like you are. Imagine this. You and a colleague are arguing intensely about a project. You want speed to meet the deadline. They want to slow down to ensure quality. At first glance, it's a conflict. But look closer. You both want the project to succeed. One person values speed, the other values precision. Once you see that the question shifts from, "I'm right, you're wrong," to, "How can we be both fast and accurate?" Next time you face conflict, ask yourself, what do we actually want? Is there something we both care about? If we set aside the method, do we share the same goal? You might be surprised to find most arguments are about how, not where we're going. I once took part in a tense negotiation between two business partners. One side wanted to cut costs. The other wanted to raise the budget. It sounded impossible to reconcile, but when I asked, "What's the number one priority for both of you?" they both answered the same: to create a product customers will love. Once that shared goal was on the table, every idea centered around, how do we make the best product possible? It was no longer about who wins, who loses. When you find common ground, you lower defensiveness. Shift from arguing to collaborating. Create win-win solutions. This isn't unconditional compromise. It's strategy. It's turning an opponent into an ally, at least for solving the problem in front of you. Remember, when people feel heard and acknowledged, they resist less. You're not just resolving the current conflict. You're opening the door to long-term cooperation. So next time you're standing before a mountain of disagreement, try climbing higher. You might see that you and they are actually aiming for the same summit. I look for common ground. I turn conflict into opportunity. I choose collaboration over confrontation. If you believe finding common ground can change the way we live and work, share this video, because someone out there might need a way to turn an enemy into an ally. Do you notice? People can argue about anything, but they rarely let go of what touches their deepest values. If you want to change someone's mind, don't attack. Step into their world of values. In most conflicts, our instinct is to prove we are right and they are wrong. But when you dismiss their stance, you're also dismissing them as a person, and no one wants to be forced to abandon a belief without feeling respected. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone is mistaken, instruct them with kindness and show them the truth." Kindness doesn't mean weakness. Kindness means don't ask them to throw away what they value. Show them how your view actually aligns with that value. Imagine you're debating with a colleague. They strongly oppose a new process because they believe it's unfair to people used to the old way. If you tell them they're too stuck in the past, you'll only make them more defensive. But if you say, "I know you value fairness," that's why I believe this process will be better. It ensures everyone is judged by the same standard. By connecting your idea to the fairness they care about, they're more likely to open up. Think back to the last time you argued with someone. Did you truly know what they valued most? Have you ever asked yourself, Do they care most about fairness, loyalty, or integrity? If not, you might have missed the only door into their world. I once worked with a team leader who was extremely resistant to change. Any new proposal instantly rejected. Until one day I asked, "What makes you proudest in your work?" He answered, "I've always stayed loyal to my team." So the next time I pitched an idea, I started with, "I believe this will make your team more united, and that strengthens the loyalty you've always valued." For the first time, he didn't reject it outright. He started asking questions, and that was the moment I knew I'd found the key to unlock him. When you speak in the language of someone's values, you lower their defenses, make them feel respected, create space for them to consider new ideas without feeling like they're losing. This isn't manipulation, it's the art of connection. It's how change happens through agreement, not pressure. Remember, everyone defends their values. If you know how to enter through that door, you don't have to break down their walls. You just walk alongside them until you're facing the same direction. From now on, when you face conflict, ask, what is their deepest value, and start the conversation from there. Because when you touch someone's value, you don't just change their mind, you change their heart. Have you ever seen an argument so tense it felt like a stretched wire, and then one witty comment made the whole room laugh and the tension vanished? That's not magic. That's the power of humor, but only when used at the right time. Most people respond to tension with more tension. Someone raises their voice, we raise ours higher. Someone frowns, we tense up. But sometimes, the smartest way to win isn't to push harder. It's to soften the moment. A light-hearted comment, a well-timed smile. It can break down walls. It can shift the entire energy of the conversation. Seneca once said, "A joke is fragile as a ray of light, but if used well, it can light up the whole room." I once watched a heated meeting, two team leaders' voices rising with every sentence, both determined to win. Then, one of them smiled and said, "We're arguing so hard. The staff outside probably think we're about to open a boxing ring." The whole room burst into laughter. The suffocating tension dissolved instantly, and after that, they started solving the problem instead of fighting each other. Ask yourself, if I smile right now or say something light, could it change the mood? But a warning. Humor is not for mocking or belittling others. It should ease, not humiliate. I believe self-deprecating humor is the safest tool. When you joke about yourself, you send a message, I'm confident enough not to be defensive. For example, someone calls you out for being late. You smile and say, "Yep, I'm famous for keeping people waiting. At least I'm consistent." A line like that makes it hard for them to keep attacking while saving face for both sides. Used well, humor can diffuse tension instantly, make the other person feel safe, keep you in control of the tone. But timing matters. If emotions are still too hot, a joke might be taken as dismissing the issue. Wait until the temperature has cooled, then use subtlety to open the door. Humor doesn't make you weak. On the contrary, it shows you're strong enough not to get pulled into someone else's anger. So, next time the air feels heavy, try smiling. Try a gentle line. Who knows, you might turn a battle into a conversation. And remember, a well-timed smile can put out a raging fire. the one who can laugh in the middle of tension, is the one no one can defeat. Have you ever seen it? That look in someone's eyes waiting for you to strike back. But instead of fighting, you nod and say, "I understand why you feel that way." In that moment, it's like throwing a punch into thin air. They lose their momentum, and the entire confrontation shifts. In most conflicts, people expect resistance. If they attack, they want you to react. If they push, they want you to push back. But when they're ready for a fight, and you extend an open hand instead of a clenched fist, the entire dynamic changes. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Before you blame someone, ask yourself if you share the same fault." This isn't just a reminder of humility. It's a key to stepping into someone else's emotional world. I once watched a customer explode at a sales clerk over a small mistake in an order. Instead of making excuses, the clerk gave a gentle smile and said, "I understand this is disappointing. If I were in your place, I'd feel the same." Instantly, the customer's voice dropped. He stopped looking for a fight. He started explaining what he actually needed to fix the problem. One short sentence of understanding turned an attack into a conversation. Ask yourself, what's really driving their reaction? Is it fear of losing control, the feeling of being disrespected, or an old wound being reopened? When you see the emotion behind the words, you see the real person, not just the sharp armor on the outside. I remember once a colleague raised his voice at me in a meeting. My first reflex, defend myself and fire back. But I stopped, looked him in the eye, and asked, "This seems to be stressing you. Is there something worrying you?" He went silent for a few seconds, then sighed. "I'm under huge pressure from upper management." And just like that, the conversation shifted from who's right to what pressures are we facing. The tension dropped. We started finding ways to help each other instead of trading blows. When you answer hostility with understanding, you diffuse the tension immediately. Open the door to cooperation and keep the upper hand. Empathy doesn't mean you agree with everything. It doesn't mean you give up your boundaries. It simply means you acknowledge the other person's feelings so the conversation has a chance to become productive. Next time someone tries to pull you into a fight, try saying, "I understand why you feel that way." You might be surprised how one short sentence can turn an opponent into someone willing to listen. And if you want to master every conversation, start today. Practice listening. Practice empathy. Practice seeing the real feeling behind the words. I control my emotions. I choose understanding over retaliation. And that's why I can't be defeated. You know, a bamboo tree can stand through a storm, not because it's the strongest, but because it knows when to bend. In conflict, people are the same. True strength sometimes isn't about never backing down. It's about stepping back to move 3 steps forward. The problem is, many see compromise as weakness. They think yielding means losing. But Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite. Flexibility isn't surrender.